I think maybe what I can do for you is divide my story into two portions because it's still ongoing. And so I can share with you the details of the actual accident. By now you've heard I've got a little bit of an accent, so I came here from England a long time ago, 1964, and worked for a blue chip chemical company as a researcher in polymer chemistry. And that's my background, that's my training, so I come from that scientific area. And I was working in the lab and had an accident with what is called a desiccator, which in those days was a big glass bell jar about a 1/4 inch thick. And I'm taking the top off of that jar, and it shattered. And a piece of that glass severed my ulnar artery, ulnar nerve, and the tendon almost all the way through. Certainly enough to excite everybody, including me. I was close enough to the lab door that I walked out, and walked about 4 or 5 paces before collapsing, and sort of said, I need help, holding my arm in the air. And a few hours later, I'm on the operating table, and I remember being put on the operating table. And then all of a sudden, I'm on the ceiling watching what they're doing to my body, which is cutting my favorite sweater off of my body. And all the rest of my clothing is being taken off, and they're doing things around my arm. And then suddenly, I flatlined. And then all of a sudden, the nurses and the doctors are scurrying around, getting fibrillation units and all kinds of blood matching being called for. I had absolute clarity, both audially and visually, which I found amazing. So here I am up on the ceiling. I don't know how long for. Space and time kind of went out the, I guess maybe it's my scientific background. I tried to, well, what does this relate to? Is there a pillar that I can measure this up against? But there was nothing there. So then the next thing is that I'm out traveling towards this light, which was indescribable. And regardless of the fact that I've done a doctoral dissertation around it, I still cannot find adequate language to describe that light and my relationship to it. It was pulsating. It had a blue and purple aura around the edge of it, and the light and I were getting closer and closer and closer to each other. And something must have occurred. I know some people say they hear a voice or they're told to return, but I don't recall hearing any of that. But clearly something made me turn, and I witnessed the entire cosmos, and then there was Earth, and I was attached to it with this very thin, translucent ribbon sort of floating down to the Earth, and that was it. Done. Over. I'm back in my body. The following day, I began to tell my surgeon in detail what had happened. This is in Morristown Memorial Hospital, New Jersey, or as they say, New Jersey. And what was absolutely wonderful for me was that surgeon looked at me and said, people who come here with the kinds of trauma that you have experienced often tell us these kinds of stories. And thank God he said that, because I knew immediately I wasn't crazy. Other people have experienced, and I wanted to know how to get back there, where I went, what was that place. I had 1,001 questions.